Hello, creators. How are you guys? It's great to hang out with you again for another Video Creators podcast episode like we do every Tuesday, mostly on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, all those places. But also this will be live streaming at youtube.com/video creators. And I have a really special treat for you guys. I am really excited to introduce you guys to some other creators I've been hanging out with for the past 8 or 9 weeks. And we've been having a blast. I have anyway. I'll let them speak for themselves. Maybe they've wanted to lose, pull out some hairs in the process. But we've been working together, really helping them grow their YouTube channels, reach their goals, and turn their channels into something that's growing and thriving, and really helping them with whatever goals they have, whether that be supporting a business that they have, or just wanting to grow it into become a full-time YouTube creator, or to create more sales or generate more revenue or income, whatever the case might be. And so I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys on the live stream. If you're listening to the recording, we're all right here together. So everyone wave, say hi. What we want to do here with you guys is over the past 8 weeks in Video Labs, hopefully they've learned a lot, and not just like how to click and where to fix things and different behind the scenes, but actually how to strategically approach a channel that so they can optimize this and work on it and grow it from not only from now, but also for the next few years going forward. And I asked each of them, what's one tip, not necessarily from Video Labs, but just one thing that you've realized and you've learned that when I unlocked this, Tim, it made such a big difference. And my channel went from this to that. A lot of these creators saw outstanding growth and improvement. A lot of them doubled their views, their subscribers, the amount of watch time they're getting, their audience retention, and saw tremendous results. So share that one thing. What's that nugget? And I'm going to give each of them a minute or two to kind of share what that is with you. And then we want to spend a lot of time just answering your questions about this as well. So you guys who are here on the live stream, ask your questions in the chat. We'll be doing our best to get to them at the end of this, and really helping you guys unlock some of these things, hopefully for yourself and your own channel as well. But let's start with Renee, and let's start with, they have a channel about dolls and young girls, and I love their mission behind what they're doing with it. But why don't you guys tell us about your channel and what you guys are all about?
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here with you. We're Renee and Colin, and we have 3 little girls, and we love making stories. So we are a storytelling channel that brings beloved baby dolls to life by giving each of them a personality and a story. And we want to do that with the girls that watch our videos. So our target audience are 8 to 12-year-old girls. And we have so much fun doing that together as a family and with our dolly friends across the world. One of our biggest tips from the course with Video Labs, we've loved the whole thing, but one of the biggest game-changing tips for us would be optimizing the channel page for first-time viewers. That has been huge for us. Along with this would be setting up playlists specifically for first-time viewers that would be interest to them. And I think our channel is listed in the description or in your channel, in your show notes. So if you want to check that out, we had so much fun doing that, creating playlists specifically for what we thought first-time viewers would enjoy to see. And we noticed immediate results. I mean, within the first day, our views didn't necessarily increase when we changed that, but the subscribers almost doubled. And for us, that was huge. So just converting those first-time viewers that were coming to our channel into actual subscribers.
That's great. What did you change on the front of that channel that you felt made the biggest difference? What was it like before? And then what were some of the things you changed that you feel really helped?
Yeah, so before we just had popular uploads and the recent uploads, so nothing fancy, and the channel trailer. And afterwards, we took some of our popular uploads that we knew were bringing in most of our first-time viewers and created playlists around those popular videos. And I think that really did help, because when people would come from that one video, they would see a related playlist to those videos that they had just watched for the first time.
Yeah. Cool. Great. So Hasman12 in the chat's asking, is Renee Kelly their channel name? It's not
our
the channel name.
Channel name is Girls Play Dolls. And
Cool.
my name is Renee Kelly.
Yeah. So you guys can find links to all of their channels down in the description of this live stream, or if you're listening to the podcast recording of this later, check out the show notes. Links to all their channels are down there. So if you want to check out anything what they're doing, like you want to see what Renee actually did on the channel, what it looks like now to get some ideas, go check out her channel. It's down there as well as everyone else's. So cool. Well, thank you guys.
Sure.
Amber is up next. Tell us about yourself and your channel.
Hey everyone, this is Amber Baldwin. I'm with Story Chasing, and I kind of started this venture by RVing full-time, and then I quit my job, and so now I teach about that. I have this principle called the Create, Do, Live principle, which helps me to teach people how to also quit their 9-to-5 job, to become a full-time digital nomad, and to accomplish their dreams. Specifically, I'm targeting people who are wanting to do this prior to retirement. So it's kind of what I did and what I like to teach about.
Great. Cool. So what's your tip that was really helpful for you and your channel?
Yeah. So the best, well, there's a lot of things that were great about Tim's course, but the tip that I really focused on was actually the storytelling. So one of the problems I was having is in the beginning of my video, I was seeing a drop off in audience retention. So one of the things that I learned in Tim's course was to have like a 15-second description of what your video is going to be in the very beginning, then do your branded intro, and then you kind of get into the meat of what your video is going to be about. And ever since I implemented that, I've seen my audience retention just skyrocket. So that's been one of my favorite tips.
What did you have to like change? Like, what was it like before? What were you doing?
I would chat way too much about stuff that wasn't even related to the video, because I vlog a lot. And so I would just be, I wouldn't like figure out how to craft the story, even, you know, for the vlog. I was just vlogging about anything and everything. And so once I kind of looked at, you know, how to frame the story and start putting that all together, it started to get, you know, more clear and concise, and I wasn't doing all the chatting ahead of time, and then people knew what the video was going to be about and just started watching longer.
Yeah, great, cool. Ride in chat ask, what's her RV channel name again?
Story Chasing.
Story Chasing. Yep, you can check it out. Amber Baldwin down there in the show notes. So cool, great to have you, Amber. Thanks for being part of Video Labs.
Absolutely, thank you.
And you guys who are in the chat, feel free to ask questions and we will get to them here at the end. So love to hear you guys' tips as well. Let's do Brian and Diane. Live your someday now. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Thanks, Tim.
Good. Tell us about your channel and what you guys are all about.
We're Brian and Diane, and we're a family of 5 with also 2 dogs, and we're sharing our family's full-time RV adventures around the U.S.
And we've overcome a lot as a family. I've overcome a lot. I was paralyzed for 30 years using a wheelchair. I've overcome a lot with that. We had this big life change of going full-time RVing. We've overcome that. We hope to encourage others to live their dreams, be positive, and overcome any obstacles that they're facing with all the mostly vlogs that we do.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Cool. And what's the name of your channel down below if people can find it?
Live your someday now.
Cool. Sweet. What's your tip? What do you guys got for other creators?
Okay, so it's been a wonderful course, and we've learned so much from Tim and all the other creators. Our favorite takeaway was to kind of end our videos abruptly, not give away ending cues, like saying, you know, bye and thanks for watching, because then the audience drops off. And we found out that the key is to get more people right to the end of your video, so that to your end screen, and then you can do a call to action to have them maybe watch more videos or subscribe.
Right. And what we were doing wrong, I think a lot of people were doing wrong, is you start signaling the end of the video with saying things, well, that's all we have for today. And, you know, that's our last tip. And, you know, people hear that and they take the opportunity to leave. So if you can't get people to your call to action, you're not going to get the responses of the clicks or the subs or whatever you were trying, you know, to pitch towards your target audience. So deliver content right to your call to action, whether it's for subscribers or it's to click another video, so that there's more people there to click those buttons.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The sign off type stuff is kind of from television, which is where the show is actually over and now another show, a different show is coming on. But that doesn't necessarily have to be true on YouTube. You don't have to say goodbye because they literally can just keep clicking and hanging out with you until they exhaust your library of content on your channel. So if you're getting started, you know, you don't have a whole lot to promote right there. But as long as you have 2 or more videos, you can always hopefully get them to watch another video and hang out with you longer rather than making them feel like they have permission to just kind of leave. So
we've changed going forward on our newer videos, but we did go back and watch some of our previous videos and check the audience retention graphs. And if possible, we did chop off, you know, a few seconds or maybe even 30 seconds at the end of a video. So that was a great tip to kind of improve audience retention on some of our older videos.
Yeah, cool. Great. Well, you guys can check them out. Their channel's linked up down below. And if you want to see about more of what Brian and Diane are up to and their RV travels, it's fun having 2 RV channels in this one. That was fun in this session. Let's go to Cynthia Tidley.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
My name's Lisa Margolin, and I do the channel Cynthia Tidley, wherein I play a British woman by that name who interviews a new wacky woman every Thursday, and they're all played by me. And so it's kind of a zany, unique, left of center type kind of humor that I do. So my big tip coming out of this course, in which there was so much great information, was specifically regarding thumbnails and titles, and making sure that that the text was not repeated that you used in the title as on the actual thumbnail, so that when you read the title and looked at the thumbnail, you were intrigued and it teased a story and you wanted to watch from there.
Yeah, cool. So how did you do that on your content?
So I haven't changed back episodes too much, but going forward, I have done that in my videos. So like I did one about winter time in the Midwest and shoveling, and I titled the thumbnail is me outside with like a shovel, and the text on the thumbnail is heaven, and I believe that the title is why everyone should winter in the Midwest. So that's
heaven's not quite the word I would use for that,
No.
which is exactly what it fits your humor though on that channel very well. So,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense for you. You guys check it out if you want to get a laugh, you want to have a good time, and watch a few different characters there. But that's fun. Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Dan, tell us about yourself and your channel.
Hey guys, my name is Dan. My channel is called Guns and Guitars, and those are just my 2 favorite hobbies. And I've always been put off by, there are lots of like pretentious snobs in both of those industries, the music industry and the firearms industry. Everyone's always telling you that if you didn't spend a boatload of money on your gear, it's not worth anything. And I just don't subscribe to that logic. So my channel is all about getting high-end results on a low-end budget. And so my value proposition is spend less, play more. And so we do a lot of like do-it-yourself tips, tricks, and hacks for building and modding on Guns and Guitars, as well as budget product reviews. So you know which ones are worth the money and worth, are going to be a lot of fun versus the ones that you should steer clear from. So if Guns and Guitars, if you like either of those and you like saving money and having fun, feel free to come join my channel. I think there's a link down in the description or show notes. Guns and Guitars, youtube.com/Guns and Guitars.
Cool. And the ones that we see behind you right now, are those guitars that you made, if I remember correctly?
Yes, all of them except for that one, which is actually part of my backstory and how I got into guitar building. I bought that when I was in college and I spent way too much money on it. And it was a terrible, terrible, terrible guitar. It's actually a bass, but that's the whole reason why I got into guitar building and modding, is so I could fix that thing so I could actually get my money's worth out of it.
Okay, cool. Well, what's your tip for creators?
I'm actually going to kind of piggyback off of what Brian and Diane said about ending your videos abruptly. One of the things we did in this course was Tim made us analyze 20 of our audience retention graphs. And that's one of those things that I've heard on his podcast over and over and over again. I'm a religious podcast listener, and I always get super inspired, and then I just never do it. So being in this course, it made me actually do it. And you guys really should do it as well, because you will learn so much about what drives your audience away from your videos. And so, you know, Brian and Diane mentioned at the very end of their tip, how they kind of clip some footage off of the end of one of their videos so that the end screens could come sooner. And that was an experiment that I actually did as well. And I found I had a video that's performing really well, but on my audience retention graph, the last minute, it just tanked from about 50% retention all the way down to about 5%. And so I realized that that last minute was just not valuable at all. And I could cut that last minute off without killing the video. So I cut it off. I put the end screen for the next video, and all of a sudden that video shot up in views, it shot up in watch time. And so I was like, wow, there's something to this. So I went back through my channel. I decided that it was more worth it for me to spend a day going through my channel and seeing which videos were doing that same thing. And I cut them all short, added end screens to related videos, and watch time and revenue started climbing on my channel without me having to do anything, just evergreen watch time and evergreen income and evergreen session watch time. So super helpful.
You know, the thing that's interesting about that is it's very common for a lot of creators to blame the performance of their videos, or the lack of performance of their videos, to keyword research and whether or not they have the right tags, and you know, and all the little, did I click all the right buttons, and did I check all the right check boxes and everything, like in terms of YouTube. And few people actually, well, relatively few people actually consider like, oh, maybe it's something about my content itself. And so we spend a lot of time evaluating, like, how do we know what to fix in our content, and the retention graphs are a great place to start looking for that. But as you pointed out, like, once you fix the content, that video started performing better and started taking off and started like growing and everything. And so I think it's you know, your point to like analyze the graphs is good, but it also, I think it makes another point, which is consider the content itself and how it's optimized for people, and how do people engage with it, and how do they like it, and how do they react to it, and what is the responses and signals is Google picking up from that viewer about your content. And that makes much more difference. Did you change any of the metadata or anything on that video, or only trim off the end?
I only trimmed off the end and made sure that the end screen, the next video that I wanted them to watch, came up before they clicked away. That's all I did.
That's it. Yeah. Cool, man. Great.
Hey, Tim, I have a quick thing about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
To second, or I guess third, what Dan was saying about doing the clipping. After I heard him and Brian do it, I decided to go into my one video that has gotten over 100,000 views. It's my van tour video, but the audience retention was awful. It was just tanking in the very beginning because I was talking too much in the beginning and not really getting to the meat of the story. And so I went in and clipped the very beginning, about 2 minutes out of the very beginning, and my audience retention has gone up over 30% now.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
See, that's what we're talking about right there. Like what would some of you guys give to do like 30% more, 50% more without even gaining an extra viewer? You know, it's like just optimizing the content for the people we already have, and things blow up, you know? It's great.
Absolutely. Thanks for the suggestions.
Yeah. Glory Be TV. And I have a little personal thing about Glory Be, because that's my sister's name, and that's the exact name we would call her, is Glory Be. So I'm like, I've never met another Glory Be before.
No.
So it's good to have you, Glory. Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, I have Glory Be TV. It's a lifestyle channel for mature women who want to look fabulous, feel amazing, and age gracefully. Now, my channel has been around for a lot longer than a lot of people's, and I renamed it a bit ago, but now I've rebranded it, because what I was doing for a long time was just throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall just to see what would stick. And also, I didn't have any other channel creators to talk to. So this has been like a double bonus for me, just to have so many people to, get advice from and give advice to and chat about this. So I'm glad that some of the other channel creators talked on this, Tim, before I was chosen, because mine kind of tags on to what the others have said about the hook in the beginning, and they were talking too much and making it too long, or at the end card, you know, getting to the end really fast, but using that 20 seconds to still deliver content. But my tip has to do then with the rest of the body. Of course, the sooner you can get to the point where you're not so chatty when you're filming your video is great. But if you filmed it, now you're sitting down with your editing software. It's really good if you get to know your editing software really good, so that while you're editing it, you don't want to go refilm it after doing all that work. You can learn to edit and just chop stuff off. I've also learned while I'm filming to stop talking at a certain point, thinking, okay, I want to cut this part out, and give myself that space so that when I am sitting down at editing, which takes much longer than filming, that I can just splice that stuff out and cut out that extra chatter, because the extra chatter is what we're saying makes people drop off and go watch something else.
Yeah. So important to like, yeah, the theme I feel like you guys are saying is like, pay attention to your content itself, you know, and how people are responding to it. Was for you, how did it feel, Glory, when you had to start editing some of that? Did it feel personal? Like, why don't people listen to it when I just chat, you know, or did you understand it? Like, or was it like, no, content was fine, the problems with the viewer? Like, how did you feel?
Yeah, no, a couple times I had talked in our Facebook group about another video that you had posted last fall. So that would have been like September 2018, where you had some other creators who had been through your course talk about their audience retention. A lot of them said I was talking too much. And that's when I started thinking about this. So once we got in class, I thought, okay, it's the hook I needed it at the end, but the whole thing, you know, it's just that extemporaneous talking, just because there's no one here having a conversation with me. It's just the camera and me, and I need.
Yeah, I know sometimes creators can kind of.
I want to get better at it while I'm filming.
Yeah, I think sometimes it feels a little bit personal, and you're like, why don't people want to listen to me? Or like, I think that part's great, and you're like, well, other people don't, you know. So it's not like, it's not personal. It's just like, how do we better deliver the value that our audience wants? And if this is how we can better deliver value, then that's what we should be all about, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, Glory. How about Karen Campbell? Tell us about yourself and your channel, Karen.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Karen Campbell, and I'm a mixed media artist, and I help creative adult women who have little or no formal art education to become artists. And we try to do that with the most easy, straightforward, and super funnest tutorials ever. So that's what my channel is all about. And my tip that I got from Tim is kind of huge, and it's slowly transforming my channel. So coming from an education or a tutorial based channel, I would always used to feel badly if I would do a time lapse, because I felt like I was rushing through it and then I wasn't giving everybody, you know, my 100% all of my attention. What I didn't realize is that when I was doing that, my audience retention rate at a time lapse was a slow decline, slow and steady. And that if it was a real-time tutorial, and these are the ones that I thought when I was like really killing it, because these are real time, I'm giving 100%, my audience retention rate was like completely and utterly abysmal. So what I have learned, which is super important, is that Tim told us specifically about a study that YouTube had done, where it showed that people don't want to or watch real-time tutorials. What they want is just enough information for them to be able to understand if they can do the project or not, period. And that could be 5 minutes, and literally not 1 second more. And the sooner and the quicker that you can just get across the main meat of the message, the better off you will be. So I have gone from my 1 hour tutorials, I now get them down to about 8 minutes or less, like between 5 and 8 minutes. And my audience retention rates prove that point very nicely, that I went from about 18 to 24%, and now I'm looking at 64%. audience retention. So the proof is most definitely in the pudding. So thank you, Tim. This course has been completely invaluable. No, I thought that was so super interesting and definitely true. Definitely.
Yeah, 18 to 64%. That's quite the increase. Yeah,
It's
good
a
for you.
little insane. And the people I know are still doing the projects, you know, so it's nice to see my students are still following. So I do know that I'm not cutting out so much that they still can't do it. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, that information that I suggest is based on some research that was done a while ago, I think, where because the DIY how-to tutorial niche on YouTube is huge and growing all the time, and the study was like how many people who watched the tutorial felt like they could do it versus how many people could actually do it. And it was like 90% of people are like, oh yeah, I could do that if I wanted to. And that's what people really wanted to feel like. But when they actually had the people then go and actually try to do the project, only like very small percentage of people could actually do it. And so what people are watching these tutorials for isn't actually to do the project. They just kind of want to see how it's done and make them feel like, oh, I understand the process and I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. So there's this big gap between like, it depends on what you want to do. Like if you actually want people to sit down and do the projects, then there's probably an opportunity to put that on the other side of a paywall for those people who actually do want the full 45-minute, every single little step and everything versus the people who are just like, give me the 5-minute version. Like, oh yeah, I could do that. And that's the feeling that they really want.
And just to segue up, that's exactly what I have done. So I have an art school that is offline, or that's online, but away from YouTube. And now it's created for my business a really nice delineation, solves both my problems. One is how to deliver my content on YouTube without giving it all away for free, and how do I also have a separate place where people can go and get the long version if they want. So it's a great business model as well for probably a lot of YouTubers.
Sweet. Well, good job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sam, tell us about your channel and what you're up to on YouTube.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So my channel is smartdesign.church, and that's also the website, smartdesign.church. And we focus on helping churches communicate the timeless gospel in the 21st century. So with like the new communication tools that we have today that we didn't have 100 years ago, or even probably like 10 years ago, honestly, how do we use those tools to better communicate the gospel? And my story is I used to work for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I worked there for 3 years, and I would create social posts, and I would see those go out, and they would sell thousands of tickets. And that was really cool to see. And it was kind of an ego boost. But at the end of the day, I was kind of like, I mean, is this actually worth it? Like, God gave me these talents, so how can I actually use these to grow his kingdom? So I revamped a current YouTube channel that I had, and I really focused more on creating video content for churches. And so my big tip is, it's not what everyone else kind of signs up, or even myself signs up for when you sign up for Video Labs. It's like when you sign up, you're thinking, oh, I want to learn how to get discovered, and I want to learn all the analytics behind it and the audience retention graphs and how to read it. But the big thing I got out of this was finding your why. Like, why your channel? And I think Tim said it so many times, and I realize that I end up ignoring it a lot of the time. He says, you know, communities are built around shared beliefs and not shared interests. And I think before I really figured out my why, that was kind of what my channel was. It was just, you know, people who worked at church who want to learn how to make video and graphics and use social media. And that was kind of the shared interest. But when I figured out, you know what, the why of this channel is to help churches communicate the gospel. Well, that's a why that all churches want to figure out how to do better. So that is more of a belief system that people can get around. And once I started implementing that and putting that in my videos and saying, hey, here at Smart Design, we help churches communicate the timeless gospel in the 21st century. And that became like my value proposition. I immediately started seeing subscribers go up, because I think it was just more obvious who this was for and why they should subscribe and be a part of this community. But not only that, my confidence in creating the videos went up, because I knew everything that I was creating had to circle around this one value proposition. So I knew exactly who I was talking to and what kind of content I needed to make. So the why is definitely something I would say that everyone needs to focus on. Before you really dig deep into how do I make my videos look better, figure out your why. Why are you doing this YouTube channel to begin with?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with creators, and they come and do it for a lot of the same reasons, like tell me what to fix and how to, what's wrong with this or that. And the one thing that almost none of them consider is actually like the biggest culprit is just brand confusion for a first-time person, like first-time viewer. They've never heard of you before. They clicked on it because it was a suggested video, the title and thumbnail pitched the value they want to consume. And then when they like look into figure out anything more about who you are, it's like, they have to do some digging and some homework. And so like, how do you quickly and clearly communicate who this is for, what value they're going to get and why they should care, all within like 2 to 5 seconds. And so I find myself spending a lot more and more time on branding and brand clarity so that when people hear about you the first time, they're like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Like Dan Thompson, I need more of that in my life, subscribe. And it just makes it easier for people to subscribe because they understand what they're signing up for, what they're going to get and what they're expecting. So how you set expectations with your brand is really important. It's like very foundational. And too many people are just jumping straight to keyword research and then wondering why it's not working,
Yeah. And I would say not only has it grown my YouTube channel, but it's also grown the community outside of my YouTube channel. So that means my email list, the Facebook group. I mean, people are now starting to form a community around this just because we all have the same belief. We all want to communicate the gospel in today's world with the technology we have. So
yeah, clear brand is so important. Makes such a big impact. Cool. Thank you for that one. That was awesome. That was good. Star Wars IRL. Hey man, tell us about your channel and what you do on YouTube.
Hey everyone, I am Star Wars in Real Life, Star Wars IRL. My channel is about making Star Wars a reality and having fun doing it. So I talk about things in real life that are Star Wars related, like Star Wars toys or games, events, cosplay, Star Wars land, you name it. So if you're a Star Wars nerd, then you'll definitely feel like you belong. And my biggest tip after doing video labs for 8 weeks, it's actually something that pretty much everyone has already kind of touched on, but if anything, I should tell you like just how important this is. It's to study the hell out of your audience retention graphs. So for any viewers who like don't already know, audience retention is a measure of like how long people watch your videos before they leave. It also tells you like when people are sticking around and like how long they do watch for. And so like what those graphs do is let you kind of look at specific points in your video. So like, oh, in this video at 2 minutes and 5 seconds, I lost 40% of my audience, like within like 2 or 3 seconds. And so you can look at that point in your video and see like what happened that caused so many people to leave. So for example, oh, I used a swear word or something. Maybe I shouldn't curse if I want people to stick around, So when you do that for like all of your videos, you can come up with like a list or a rule book, like I actually have right here, just full of things of like what not to do and what to do. For all your videos, that'll help.
That's good. Yeah. So with
YouTube kind of says, okay, people like watching him, let's show his content to more people.
Yeah. So without showing your whole list to us, because it does change and vary a lot from channel to channel to channel, but there are a few things that you have on your list that you're like, oh, if a few creators did this or considered that, it would make like a big difference in how they hold someone's attention.
Yeah, so a lot of my things kind of fall under the same category, which is just to change up the shot as often as possible. So like using different camera angles, using like different camera zooms, graphics, B-roll, on-screen text, whatever you can do to kind of just like slap the viewer in the face and like refocus their attention, I think would be better. Like that being said, don't make people dizzy with like too many camera angles or zooms or whatever. but like every 3 or 5 seconds, like change something in the frame. I think that is like pretty consistent across every YouTube channel that I've seen that is successful. Like something is like, it's kind of constantly moving. It flows very well that way.
Good. Yep. Every time something on screen changes, the brain's got to reset and be like, oh, what happened? Like, oh, it changed again. Oh, it changed again. Right. And it's got to like reset, and kind of the brain wants to take everything in again, and then you switch it on the brain. So you kind of keep the brain engaged that way. It's good. Trevor Jones. Hey, man.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me on here. Super excited. My name's Trevor Jones. I'm a former Hollywood editor turned full-time real estate full-time real estate agent a year and a half ago. And what I've done is taken what I've learned editing, working on big movies like, Captain America and Avengers. And the last movie I worked on was actually Thor, helping to market those movies. And I just implement that in my real estate business. And I had a great year. My first full-time year in real estate was 2018, and basically doubled my Hollywood income by doing video. And I've determined that real estate agents hate making cold calls, and so do I. So I don't. I just create videos. So I teach real estate agents to make better videos to sell more houses, and kind of just nerd it down to that. And I've learned a ton in this course. My first tip is, if you're thinking about growing a YouTube channel, take Video Labs. It is amazing. Literally during that time, my subscribers have gone up 50% on a relatively small channel. It's like, whoa, way more subscribers now. They're growing like 3 times faster than they ever have before. But my one tip I want to share with you guys is to read the book, Primal Branding. We go into it in the course and discuss how we can implement it in our channels. And we don't have time to go through the 7 elements of primal branding. Just one I want to touch on is creation story. When people go to your channel, they don't want to just go, oh, you're a real estate agent, and you're going to give me tips. Why should I listen to you? People want to know your backstory. So I've implemented that more by just sprinkling it in most of my videos now. And then I finally got a trailer up, and I think it's helping immensely. People knowing who you are. It's like, oh, you're a regular human, and this is your background, and here's why I should listen to you, and here's what you believe. And these 7 elements of primal branding are just gold. And it's not all easy. This takes a lot of thinking, a lot of reflection to kind of narrow down what you're going to do. But if you don't take Tim's course, I suggest you do at least read Primal Branding. It's gold.
Yeah. And you have a channel trailer that's one of the best, I think. Like when you shared that in our Facebook group and I watched it, I'm like, oh my gosh, she nailed it. Like everything. I think I even asked you if I could use that as an example for other people.
Please do. And literally Tim goes, here's what your channel trailer should include. So I'm like, I just did what Tim said. That's it. And
no, you executed it really well. So you guys should definitely go check out Trevor's channel just to watch the channel trailer, because what he does in there in how long is it? Like 40 some seconds or something?
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
really short, like a minute.
Yeah. So he hooks his target audience like right off the bat. He pitches, he starts sharing a little bit about his creation story. That also teases the pain point that his target audience feels, while also offering and teasing a solution, all wrapped around his story that then like communicates your posting schedule, the value proposition of the channel, and a call to action to subscribe. And it just like does it boom, 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 like everything. And it's so clear. By the end of it, you're like, I know exactly what this channel is about. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I know exactly who Trevor is. It's like, there's no confusion. It's really easy to just like, I get it, hit subscribe. So, and part of that process, I think, Trevor, isn't just necessarily making the video, but trying to do all of that in 30 seconds to a minute forces you to really, like you said, like a lot of pre-work to articulate how exactly am I going to wordsmith this so I can communicate most amount of communication in the least amount of time.
Yep.
And so how did just the exercise of making that channel trailer, how did that help you in terms of how you're going to position and grow your channel going forward?
Well, it was all the stuff that you had us do before in the course, like trying to identify your value proposition, identify your creed, identify your target audience. And because of all the work that we did beforehand in the course, it's like, okay. And then Tim literally gave us the outline for a channel trailer. It was actually pretty easy, but it was really hard. Those first few weeks in this course were really hard. They made you think. I think you guys can all agree. It's like, well, you think, oh, it's going to go here, and these are the boxes you click. It's not that at all. This is introspection and figuring out the value you're going to deliver to the earth.
Yeah. Why should people care about you? That's how we start.
Exactly.
You're like, oh my gosh, come on, Tim. It's just want more views. Like, well, they need to care about you first.
He makes us think. Like, we go to ask Tim in this course, we'll go like, Tim, what should I do for this? And instead of Tim just answering, he goes, what do you guys think? And he makes us think. And that's the value in this course, so we can think for ourselves, even without him, even though we don't want to let him go at the end of this course.
Yeah, so sad. Well, the next one opens up here in the next few weeks. So if you want to rejoin, you can, but I don't know that would be beneficial for you. Okay, last person here. I'm going to dive into your questions. So you guys still have it. We have some of your questions from, we'll dive in here just a second here. Last person, Tiffany. Hello, tell us about your channel.
Hey, Tim, thanks so much. Hey, everyone, my name is Tiffany Dawn, and I do a channel for Christian young women in their college years and their 20s. And it's basically conversations that you wouldn't normally have in church. So it's like real life advice about boys, beauty, and God. And it's kind of started it just because I grew up in church and I felt like there were a lot of topics that were kind of taboo, nobody talked about, but I felt like I wanted someone to talk about them. So we're trying to do that on my channel. And so I loved taking this course. There's so many amazing things I took away from it. One of the top things was about actually titling my videos. So I had been using a lot of keywords in my titles, like writing my title as if it was for a search engine. So like I have one video called How to Say No, which that's great, but who wants to click on that? Like if you search for it, that's great, but nobody's going to want to click on that. I could have titled it differently to leave the viewer with like a question in their head, like what is this going to be about? Or like tease a little part of the value the video would bring. So I could have called it like 5 things no one tells you about saying no, or why no has become my favorite word, or 7 ways no has changed my life. Something like that leaves the viewer wondering like, what's she going to say? Like there's a little like tease that you know kind of what's coming, but you have a question in your mind too. So I started titling my videos differently, and I've seen like the number of views I get right away jump up at the beginning because people are more curious about the titles, and it's not just a boring how to blank keyword thing anymore. So yeah, that's my number 1 tip.
Yeah, it's about optimizing this for the viewer so that the viewer like kind of feels like they know right up front what they're going to get from this video, why they should watch, why they should care, and optimizing that for the human rather than just for robots, so that people actually are like, oh, I want that, and they click and watch. So cool, really super good. So when you shoot your content, Tiffany, where does that title thumbnail fall into your process? Do you usually do that before you start the video, or do you do that after your video, then trying to figure it out, or what have you found to be the best approach and like how to work that into your flow?
Well, I was doing it after I shot the video and then be like, oh, what do I call this now? But what Tim showed us is that your hook or the first few seconds of the video need to tie back right into the title and thumbnail. And so now I'm trying to move that to the first part of my process. And now I have like a list of just title ideas that I can then shoot videos about and have my process start with the title, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, start title and thumbnail. That's good. Cool, guys. Well, we got a lot of questions for you guys. So those of you who went through Video Labs, ready for your final exam? Kind of, not really. It's going to be fun. Totally laid back. But no, I really get excited, guys, because this is probably one of my favorite parts about Video Labs is letting you get access to them. And after the end of 8 weeks, just hearing how they answer questions and how they think and how they tackle problems and situations. It gets me excited because I know like I've done my job well and the course was successful and accomplished exactly what I wanted it to do, which is teach them how to think and how to approach this strategically, not just like not memorize like an FAQ or something like that. So let's start with Hasman 12. And again, you Video Lab graduates now, I suppose, like just feel free to jump in and answer any of these that you'd like. Hasman 12 says, but doesn't clipping part of the video make the video seem a bit strange, like just comes to an abrupt ending? So I think they're referring back to when you kind of went, I think it's Dan, when you were saying you went back to the end, and Brian and Diane, you also said you just like cut it off and just ended. Like, doesn't that make the video seem strange? Like, how would you answer that?
Yeah, you have to be kind of selective on the videos you actually pick to do that too. If it's one that's a real no-brainer where the last 30 seconds, all you're doing is talking about, oh, I hope you liked the video, you know, leave us some comments and view and you know, there's also this other time we did this or that, and it's not related to the content, cutting it off doesn't make any difference. Yeah. But for something, if you're still delivering content to the end, just put put the call to action, the end screens, you have, I guess, 20 seconds to have the call to action up there, and you can still be talking while those clickable buttons are there.
Yeah.
But you just want to make sure you're not cutting off any content that belongs in the video.
Yeah, just make that content part of your call to action at the end. So you're already, those call to actions are coming up there, and you're still delivering the value where they had previously been dropping off. So they're at least getting to see that.
Yep. Cool.
And if you're cutting them off like after they've already been uploaded, like some of these guys have done, it's kind of an artistic choice. I mean, Casey Nice, a girl named Dimmy in the chat said Casey does that. It's an artistic choice. It's kind of a fun thing to do. It's like your mid sentence, like you're done. It can be kind of fun. So it could be abrupt, but it can be fun, and it'll keep people to the end. So I think it's totally worth doing.
And Tim brought up also, I was gonna say, you brought up the fact about like when it is abrupt and kind of awkward, then people are kind of left unsatisfied. So they're more like, you know, apt to then click and be like, wait, what happened? And click on that end screen. And I've been binge watching all the Game of Thrones seasons back from season 1 before the new one comes out. And I can't believe we're doing this on Amazon and they have a little end screen. And I can't believe how many episodes end with that, you know, a horrible, abrupt, what? You know, if they do that, the big guys do it totally intentionally. So there's no reason us little guys can't do the same thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be awkward, but it just needs to be like a clearly defined, it's over all of a sudden. Like not like a, what? Like I think they messed up their video render. It's not like that. It's, yeah, cool. Feast and Farm Cooks. What's the percentage? What's a good audience retention percentage? Or maybe it's more about the behavior and less about the percentage. What would you guys say about that?
Well, you've drilled this into us. You said it's really good if at the end of the video, we still have 50% or more, right?
50% of the people who click play are still watching when the video ends.
So your chart, let's see, I'm backward here. So at the end, you're at 50% or more.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Any other responses to that? That's a good starting point because it means that half the people who click play gave you maximum amount of watch time for that video and now are there ready to click and watch another video, as opposed to leaving or your audience leaving halfway through. And then you get to the end screens and no one's even left there to click and watch another one in the first place, giving you more watch time on another video, increasing the viewing session and all that. So shoot for 50% at the end. It's a hard metric to hit, but practice and study those graphs like we've talked about here, and that will help. Ginthian Shield, how are they editing the video and uploading them as a new video or editing them on YouTube somehow? How are they clipping off parts of their video? Dan, how are you doing that?
So YouTube has a built-in editor, and most people don't know this. There's one in Studio Beta, but I can actually never get it to work. So if you go into Studio Classic and click Edit on your video, and then click on Enhancements, down at the bottom underneath your video thumbnail, there'll be an option to trim your video. And you can trim off clips there, and it'll just save the video in its place. It won't affect your views and watch time or anything from that video. And then there's also even an option where the part that you clip off, you can make into a new video as well. So if you found that lots of people are tanking on your audience retention, but you still think that that last bit, it would make a good video in and of itself for maybe a different audience, you can clip it and make it a new video. Although to that point, you probably just want to clip it and then make a dedicated version from your video editing software to upload, but it's possible.
Cool. Cat's Eye asks, I've been getting a decent amount of views, but not new subs, even nice comments, but nada. What am I doing wrong? So getting some views, but not subs, just kind of like what might be happening there.
Well, a couple of things. I know for us, like I mentioned about our channel page not being set up to optimize for those first-time viewers, people coming back. But then also discerning if you want subs, actually making that your clear call to action. Perhaps there could be a lot of things. I know before we haven't gotten good results in getting new subs from either not mentioning it or mentioning it along with like 5 other things, and the viewer doesn't know what to do. So if that's one of your goals, to make sure that that's clear to your audience in your video.
And I would add to that, oh, sorry, were you done, Renee? Okay. Making sure that your target audience and your value proposition for your channel is coming across very clearly in the beginning. That's something that I was just kind of, I think it was Glory who was saying, I was just chatting a lot in the beginning of videos and people didn't really know what my channel was about or why they would want to subscribe. And so those first few seconds, my audience retention was just diving down. And so I think getting that across clearly so people would know why they'd want to sub, why they'd want to be part of your community is a big factor too.
Yeah, a lot of times they just don't understand what they would get if they subscribe. It goes back to what we talked about earlier about having like an unclear brand and value proposition.
Yeah, I was going to add to that actually, because we were talking about the why. When I first started my channel, and I mentioned earlier that I kind of rebranded towards churches, but originally it was just like how to make videos in general. And some of those videos are still some of my most popular and watched videos, but now I'm seeing that those videos were not getting very many subscribers. So it's kind of like the same thing, but there was no why behind it. It was just like how to make videos. And it was a community, not even a community, but a group full of people who have the same interests, but not the same belief. So going back to the whole why thing, you got to figure out why are you doing this and create a belief system around that.
Yep, totally. Let's see here. We just got a super chat. Let's do that one. 10 pounds from husband 12. Oh, thanks again. Thanks for the 10 pounds. Whatever I do, I seem to always get a mass drop off in the early, in the first 10 seconds, even if my hook and title is at the beginning as a teaser. And I wouldn't say I'm clickbaiting viewers and getting very frustrated. So that was some of you guys that had that same experience, right? Like the first opening seconds was just like everyone left in the first 10 seconds. What did you guys do to fix that?
I'll talk about that one. For me, I was just making sure that my title, my thumbnail, and then the intro, the first 15 seconds matched, and also just not chatting too much. So when I started to make sure that all three of those really tied in together, that's when I started to see my audience retention go up and people not just drop off in the very beginning. So you might take a look at that and see if those are really matching. Also, your title, you'll have your title, but then your thumbnail is another opportunity to do a tease. It shouldn't really match your title. So you can do like another teaser text right there, which also helps people to click. And then still, when you do your intro, you'll deliver your value that'll actually cover your thumbnail text and your title text.
Cool. Any other input on that?
Yeah, I think he said his intro is 15 to 20 seconds long in the chat, and that's way too long. Your branded intro should be no more than 2 to 5 seconds, because you watch TV, you watch Friends or something, and they got a 30-second long intro. We're used to that. On YouTube, we have no attention span. That intro, yeah, it's great to brand yourself and to pitch your value proposition, but 2 to 5 seconds max, or people are going to just peace out.
Yep. Armod74 asks, any tips for refresh or freshening up a channel after taking a break from posting? I have a small audience built up around 2.3 thousand, but I found it hard to get traction when I go back from a break, like from school. Any advice for him you guys have? So I'd say like a few things. One is like you don't have to necessarily take a break. And that is by getting ahead on your content, like get a month or two and just schedule it all out. So you can just, they can just kind of post new content on its own while you know that you're going to be taking some time off from the channel. The other thing is though, if you do need to take a break, like my wife and I have mostly been taking a pretty long break from our family's channel the past few months due to a lot of family stuff going on. And it's just kind of like, it is what it is. Like people kind of just become a little more passive. You haven't stayed in front of them for a long time. And that's not to say that your next videos you publish can't do well because you've taken a break, but sometimes your audience is like, oh yeah, I kind of got out of the habit of watching these people. That's all. And so you just start, I would say just start regularly again when you come back from your break, and you'll pick up the traction eventually and you'll be able to kind of grow from there again. So it's not to say you can't take a break. In fact, I do recommend taking a break. And we've always taken at least a break for the month of December, always, since like for a really long time anyway. I mean, not always, but for many years. And I think that's just a good, healthy pattern to be in, because otherwise you burn yourself out. So I think taking a break is healthy and good. But when you come back, just be like, oh, I'm ready to go again. And I also say, just communicate before you take the break. Let people know, like, hey, I'm going to be taking a break here for a while because I got school going on. But I'll still be active on Instagram if you want to follow me over there, or just kind of plug in other places easier for you to stay in front of people, and go from there. So
another idea, Tim, is like, take that break. It's like, you guys won't believe what happened over the last 3 months that took me away. Now I'm back and make it a big teasery kind of video, number one. And number two, update your channel art and your trailer to maybe, things that you're learning here and elsewhere, to more clearly show your value proposition. So you're hitting your target audience. So like, oh, wow, it's updated. It's all beautiful. It's different. And take that time to, kind of dial in your value proposition.
Cheryl Simpson asks, how does one self-promote without coming across with a huge ego about it? How do you guys do that?
I think as long as you are giving and not just in it to receive praise, right? If you're offering genuine value to someone else, no matter what your niche is, I don't think you ever have to be shy about telling people that you have a video if it's something that interests them. So yeah, I think that's how you get around that. You just need to give more than you ask for something in return.
Yeah.
There was something else that we learned that was so interesting from some of the other things that we were listening to and watching during the course that tags onto that. And that is that we need to make sure that the viewer is the hero and that we're just the guide guiding them to something. One of the guys we listened to gave the example of Dave Ramsey in his show and his podcast. So even though he's a guy who knows all this stuff, he's teaching all this stuff, he makes his listeners and the people following him the hero of the story. And he's just the guide helping them get there. And that was kind of an aha moment for me, to not, because so much of YouTube is like TV, and we think of TV stars, and when we watch TV, we don't think of ourselves as the hero. We're watching somebody else who's the hero. So just switching that in our heads, making the viewer the hero, was a mindset change for me.
And going along with that, I think sharing some of your own story, like why you love this channel or this product or whatever it is that you're promoting, why you love it as it comes and relates back to your life, and like how that fits into your creation story. I think someone already talked about creation story, but sharing your backstory behind it can help too.
Good. Anna Hooper asks, what's the best way to market videos if you are beginning as a YouTuber? How would people see the content if you are so small? I think we've talked about this a few different ways. Anything come to mind for you guys?
So there's different ways you can go about it. I know one thing that Tim has mentioned is you can do collab videos or collaboration videos with other YouTubers who maybe are even the similar size, similar target audiences as you. That's one way you could get started. And sharing the videos on your different social media platforms as well can also help.
Cool.
I would say also too, lots of beginning YouTubers worry so much about hacking the system and trying to get, they're sharing their stuff on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, just trying to get more views. And they don't focus on the content and the quality of the content. And I really feel like the best way to organically grow a channel with engaged viewers, which are way more valuable than just the number of subscribers you have, but how they engage with your videos, is to make quality content. And so the few views that you are getting, analyze those audience retention graphs, figure out why they're there, why they're leaving, and craft your content around that. I think you'll find the organic growth to be much better than quick growth. And you'll have much more long-term benefits from those engaged viewers than you will from just having a higher subscriber count.
And YouTube's going to be able to see those people who are watching your videos. Even like Tiffany said, if you put it on your social media platforms and only like 10 people see it, if they watch till the end, they watch the entire thing, YouTube's going to take that information and say, okay, so people like this kind of video, so I'm going to promote it to more people just like that. So it does take a little bit to get going, but once you have those few viewers and you have quality content that keeps them hooked throughout the whole thing, YouTube's going to start promoting you on autopilot, basically.
Yeah.
We have made kind of keyword research almost like a dirty word kind of in this course a little bit, but you do want to do topic research. You want to create videos that people actually want to see. So do your research before you ever hit record. You know, figure out what your title is before you record. And as we've said throughout this video, you want to craft your title for humans. Like, what's something that a human is going to click on? Don't think about what the robots and the tags and all that stuff, but you want to craft a title that people are going to click on. And of course, thumbnails are massive. That's the first thing you see when your thumbnail's up there. That's an impression, and it's got to be something someone's going to click on. Create it and go, oh, would I click on that? And look at your competition that's in the same market. Look who's getting the clicks, and get some ideas that way.
Absolutely. It's great. Well, you guys, anyone who's listening to this or watching this, if you are interested in joining us for the next round of video labs, the next session will actually open for registration here later this week on Thursday, I believe, actually. So if you're interested in being part of the next group it's limited to only 27 creators, and every single session for the past 4 years have sold out. So I'd love to have you become a part of that. And if you want to get on the waiting list for that, they'd be the first to get notified. There's a link in the show notes or the description of this live stream where you can sign up, put your name on that wait list, and you'll be one of the first people to get notified. So you can snag one of those spots as soon as it becomes available and go through 8 weeks with me and with our team, with weekly private meetings in a Zoom meeting call. You got a private Facebook group. You get in-depth training each week, a video you need to watch, assignments that you need to execute right then that week on your channel. You're going to get your channel reviewed by a lot of other people in the class who are, after learning how to think and approach their channel, they're going to be like giving you, like, those documents alone are just amazing that you get. Plus just the community aspect and the accountability to actually reach the goals. Who was it here that was saying, like, I heard Tim say this before, but like I needed the group and the accountability to actually do it, and now I'm glad I did it, right? So that's just that's what we're all here for, to really help you guys out. So love to have you join it, and check out that link. Go to videocreators.com or find the link down in the description below, and you guys can sign up for the wait list. Or if you're listening to this later, registration might be open and you can just hop on and join us, which should be great. So thank you, all of you guys, for being a part of Video Labs. I've really appreciated that, and hanging out with you guys and getting to know all of you and your channels. And it's been awesome to do that. So I'd be sad to kind of see you guys go, but also looking forward to the next one, the next session with more creators as well. So if you guys haven't already subscribed, check out their channels. They're all linked up in the description and the show notes. Subscribe here at Video Creators, because we're just all about helping you guys spread your message, reach people, change their lives, and growing your channel and making it helping it grow sustainably so you can continue to reach people and change their lives. So thank you, Laura, for moderating and producing this whole thing. And we will see you guys again next week for another Video Creators podcast episode. See you guys then.